All right. Okay, well, hopefully this is working. I don't know if this video is actually going to save to my channel, but in case it does, hey guys, this is Dylan with Bane's Botanicals, and this is the first live stream. I don't think anybody's here yet, but I'm going to hang out here for a little bit. I grabbed some plants off my shelf. I just wanted to point out a few things that maybe I've gotten recently or that I have going on, and I didn't know if you guys would have any questions about anything that I have back here. Of course, my orientation is different for this video, but I know that I've covered a lot of plants on the channel already. I still have a few more left that I want to cover, but I wanted to go ahead and if you guys wanted to see any follow-ups from previous videos, I can say that, I'd say probably half of those videos I still have the plants for. Maybe half of them I don't for various reasons, whether it's because, well, they either didn't make it or I decided that they didn't want to be here anymore. But I am trying to figure out the features on this, so bear with me just a little bit. When somebody gets here, shoot me a comment, and I'm going to see if I can see that on my screen. I don't know, sometimes I just like to learn things like trial by fire. I suppose I could have watched a video about this, but being prepared is overrated, I guess. Well, it does say I'm live. Oh, there's a comment. What's up, Robert? Okay, so then this works. I don't have anybody else with me at the moment. My spouse is actually at work, but it's okay. I think I can do this on my own. For those of you who don't know, my spouse is actually the one that does all of the video editing. I'll sit with him and kind of go over what I want it to say and everything as far as like the plant taxonomy and how I want things to look a little bit. But really, I just try to keep it kind of simple just because, I don't know. I think there's a fine line between, you know, simplistic and, you know, overdone. So thank you, Robert. I don't know how big of a delay there is, but hopefully it's not too big of a delay. But anyway, it's nice to be with you guys. I know this is like the first time and everything, but we can definitely expand on this. I enjoy, what's the word for it? I mean, it's live streaming, but what's up, Muhammad? Elaine, how's it going? Gaina, good morning. Good morning. Where are you at, Gaina? I'm Ghana. Let's go with Ghana. I'd love to hear where you're at in the world that it's good morning. Right now, it is 7 p.m. I guess you guys probably knew that. So I'm looking outside right now and the sunlight's gone. It's like that ambient evening light. So Korean, okay, cool. Well, thank you for joining us. Just right off the bat, if you guys have any, yes, 7:05 exactly. If you guys have any like questions you want to ask, I've got a few plants here that we can talk about, but yeah. Whereupon the ephemeral beside the most furious in the firmament. That sounds like something out of a game. Qualities of, and yes, thank you. Thank you for liking the channel and everything. I appreciate that. I haven't had as many videos coming out recently because work's been kind of crazy, but actually I think I hear the garage door now, so that might be my spouse home. Hey, John. Well, you know, we could maybe keep it to plant questions. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, and I do have the cats. They're kind of running around right now. I know that some people are wanting to see the cats too, so we will get to that. Well, I'm just gonna go over some of these plants real quick, and if you guys have any, you know, plant questions, I am open to answer them. I'm gonna wait until he comes in because he's gonna make a lot of noise coming in the door, but that's okay. Maybe. Yes, no, doesn't matter. So this little guy is the mother of thousands succulent. Plant God. What about now? I turned my Bluetooth off. Good. Okay. My Bluetooth connected to my car because he just brought the car home and it just automatically connects to the radio. That's so annoying, but that's okay. How's the audio? Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Um, I was using my mic, but just in case I'm not going to, if you guys can hear me okay, we're just gonna go with this. Where were we at? Plants, yes. I don't usually buy plants online just because I like to see the plants I'm getting. So most of the time that I get stuff, it's at greenhouses. I don't like to be surprised when it comes to plant shipments, but yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. I'm not averse to buying plants online, but it's got to be one that I just can't find anyplace else. So, but yeah, my mother of thousands, or mother of millions, whatever you want to call it. This one actually came from just a little bitty starter, kind of like this. Actually, this is several bundled together, and this is about how big it's gotten since I did that. Because I think when I did my Kalanko video, I don't know if I had this one or if I had the mother plant, but the mother plant did not do very well. And I don't know if it was just because it was older. I'm gonna tuck these little guys in here. I don't know if it was because it was older or it just wasn't a quality plant. But so far the baby ones have been good. And I mean, you see how many like little starters it's already putting off. I mean, realistically, I could start an army probably, but I don't know. It's just kind of a unique plant. You don't really see stuff like this very much. And, oh, there went another piece. And I just kind of like that blue-green color too. I don't know. I think it's pretty. But while we're on the subject of like succulents and cacti, I did pick up this. I think this is a Phaerocactus is the genus name. For those of you who don't know, succulent and cacti genera are really muddled and confusing. So you'll see a lot of things that have the word cactus in them, but it'll be like, oh, Phaerocactus or Gymnocactus is another one. Like they just changed the prefix on it because there's so much crossbreeding between cacti that they start to kind of all be the same. But this one's really vicious. I mean, look at the hooks on those spines there. I mean, that's the kind of thing that if you got your finger under there, can you imagine? Whoa! Start bleeding on the camera. But I don't know. I like the idea of something that is a little ferocious looking. You know what I mean? And kind of taming it a little bit. But I also picked up. This is a Dracaena Florida Beauty. I don't remember which species of Dracaena this actually is, but I like the spotting on it. I like the kind of variegation. Somebody said once that it almost looks sick, but I don't think it looks sick just because the variegation is white, right? I mean, if it was yellow, maybe I would think it looks sick, but imagine, I mean, it's got a new shoot coming up right there too. Imagine something like this getting nice and big. I think that, I don't know, so many of my plants are small, but I value the idea of starting small and appreciating them as they get bigger. And then it's kind of like watching your kids grow up, right? You can appreciate when they were little. But my all-time favorite plant would probably be, boy, that's tough. There's just so many good plants, and there's so many different reasons to like different ones. If I have to pick a favorite plant on the spot, I'm very partial to my Milky Way cast iron plant. And I know that seems like an odd choice, but I just think it's a really beautiful plant. The one I have is fairly healthy. Actually, it's really healthy. It's gotten quite big. And the dark green leaves with the kind of like the white, it's not really variegation, but like the white dots on it. It's a very attractive plant. And they're kind of hard to find. I mean, you can find them, but the one I got was about, $110, which seems like a lot, but it was already pretty big when I got it. So I'm just looking at it and I'm just admiring it from afar. But new to the channel, where do you buy your plants? Most of the places I buy my plants, Ben, is normally Lowe's or Walmart. If we're talking like big box stores. Now, if we're talking actual greenhouses, there's a few in Kansas City that are really good. Family Tree Nursery has 3 stores. They're always very impressive. And there's also a place called Suburban Lawn and Garden, which we actually filmed a filmed a video there. And they just have so many different plants, so many different varieties. I try to go there maybe once a month, maybe once every couple of weeks if I'm lucky, just because it's a bit of a drive. But I also don't like going there because I end up buying plants. And I've been saying for a while, I'm like, I've got to cut back just a little bit so that I have exactly what I want. But yes, thoughts on carnivorous plants. Oh, one other thing though about buying plants. I'm partial to plants from Costa Farms just because they usually have a really good selection and a really good variety. So if you are shopping in big box stores, I usually go to Lowe's just because I think they have a license with Costa Farms. I mean, Home Depot will have stuff as well, but just not from Costa Farms. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me being particular, but let's see. So carnivorous plant, the Audrey 2. You know, I actually haven't heard of that. Put a pin in that because I will have to look that up. I haven't had a ton of experience with carnivorous plants, and going on to the next question, I don't have a Venus flytrap. Carnivorous plants, we'll do a video on this eventually, but carnivorous plants are a little tricky to take care of. They are not novice plants by any means. Because you have to think about the natural environment of plants, right? So carnivorous plants typically come from nutrient-poor soils in like a bog or a swamp area where they have to supplement their nutrition through the ingestion of insects. So it's really hard to replicate that boggy environment where the soil has to stay consistently moist, really sopping wet in some cases, but they also can't be like drowned either. They have to have really high humidity. The soil also needs to be slightly acidic, if I'm not mistaken. So if you really want to care for them long term, there's a lot that goes into it. Now, if you just want like a fun little kind of science experiment that maybe will last a few weeks, I mean, you can buy one, and they'll probably last about that long if you just keep them kind of contained a little bit. But one of my goals is to branch more into carnivorous plants. I mean, Charles Darwin himself, you know, was fascinated by carnivorous plants, and I think he's quoted to saying, "I care more about the origin of Drosera than the origin of all species." And Drosera, for those of you who don't know, is the is that the sundew plant? Oh boy, is it Drosera? Let me think about that. I know Nepenthes and Sarracenia are pitcher plants. What is Venus flytraps? What is the genus on that? Oh, Dionea. So yeah, Drosera is the sundew plants, like the ones that kind of curl up and they have like little specks of red dew on them. So yeah, I don't know, they're pretty cool. But yeah, definitely if you just have a little bit of extra money to throw around, get one, try it. Do some research on it. Like I said, I will do a video on it eventually when I've done a little more experimenting myself, because I don't want to feed you guys, you know, BS or anything. So, do I have a garden? I do have a garden. I didn't plant it. So when we moved into this house in November, the lady who lived here before us had a beautiful kind of flower garden. Oh, it's probably about 15 feet long, maybe 4 foot wide. So it's kind of situated against a border wall. And she's got, well, we have hostas. There's a lot of lilies in there. What else is in there? There's a couple hibiscus and daffodils and probably a couple of other things that I haven't identified yet. Outdoor plants are not necessarily my specialty, but I do try to know a little bit, right? Because I do work in the garden center, so people have a lot of flower questions, not just houseplant questions. But yeah, I'd like to start maybe a little herb garden or vegetable garden. That's not something I've gotten to just yet. I do have a Ficus carica out there. I don't think it's going to flower before the season's over, so I won't be eating any figs. I'll have to settle for fig Newtons, but that's okay. Who is Bane? Bane is me. I am Bane. When we were coming up with the idea for the channel, I wanted something that was maybe a little bit catchy, so Bane's Botanicals. I like the word botanical, botany, of course. And you know, it's funny how many people, when I tell them I minored in botany, they're always like, what is botany? Like, it's like plant science. It's like the thing that we, you know, we all love. But yes, I really want a pitcher plant. Honestly, if I pick a carnivorous plant to start with, I'm going to pick Nepenthes. I think Nepenthes, of the 4 major genera of carnivorous plants, actually 5 if you include like Pinguicula, I honestly think that Nepenthes is the most forgiving, because even if it doesn't have pitchers on it actively, there are still parts of the plant that are living that will survive if you just continue to water it and kind of care for it. But yeah, like the Sarracenia ones are the ones that grow directly out of the soil, and I don't know, the ones I've had in the past tend to rot just because I think the soil's too moist. Planty Mandy is here, yay! It's so good to see you, Mandy, after all these months of talking. What's one piece of advice you would give to a fellow houseplant enthusiast? One piece of advice. It's all in the watering. Like, if I had to give a piece of advice to anybody, I would say it's all in the watering. Athena, you need to calm down. Come here, Athena. Come here. Come here. Come here, baby. Everybody wants to see you. Come here. Let's see if I can get her, because I know you guys have this thing for my cats. Come here. Oh, there's my baby. Yes. Hi. Hi, baby. You're just interested in whatever's going on over there, aren't you? Okay, okay. Come here. No, let's just see your pretty face just real quick. Just real quick. Hi, sweetheart. Okay, you can go. It's fine. No, you can't stand there, though. Come on. Get down. Shoo, shoo, shoo. That's Athena. She's my baby. She's my... Of my 4 cats, she's my favorite. I know you're not supposed to pick favorites, but I did. Um, hey, Ray. Did you just get here or are you leaving? Hopefully you're having a good evening. I know you're like an hour or two ahead of me, but okay, anyway, yeah, one piece of advice. It's all in the watering. Like everybody tends to either overwater or underwater, and it's just knowing how much light you're getting, what kind of pot your plant's in, how big the plant is. Like everything that we do in houseplant care really revolves around watering. I mean, there are other things you have to take into account, but watering is the biggest one. So, that's why a lot of my stuff's in terracotta, because I have a tendency to worry about overwatering, so then I end up underwatering. I mean, we all have these little quirks in our plant care that, could use some work, and that's mine. I mean, something like the cactus, this should be in a terracotta pot. It's a desert plant, it's prone to root rot, or in this case, stem rot. It shouldn't be in plastic. Like, it just doesn't do as well. But something like, this Dracaena, I mean, it'll do just fine in terracotta, but this could be in plastic or ceramic and be just fine. And maybe I wouldn't be watering so much. I don't know. But I also just like the look of terracotta. I mean, look at that. I just think the contrast of the brown and the green looks pleasant. But also, ceramic pots are very expensive. So yeah, that's my piece of advice. Really think about watering. Think about how much, I did a watering video, but I feel like we need to do another one. Just, I don't know. Can you ever have too many watering videos? The most interesting plant is the Audrey 2, trust me. I'm going to write that down right now, actually. I have nothing in front of me to write on. That's okay. Audrey 2. Or is it 11? Well, I'll find it. Oh, it is 11. Oh, I haven't seen that movie. That's the problem. I need to watch that. I do know the Feed Me Seymour, like the thing talks, but do I have a pencil cactus? I do not have a pencil cactus. I had one. I think I had it in one of my videos when I did euphorbia, but I don't have one normally just because they tend to be kind of fragile, and my cats get in my plants sometimes. Now, they don't try to eat my plants, but they kind of rough the place up a little bit. And for those of you who don't know, pencil cacti, when they break, they kind of leak this thick, like waxy latex sap, and it can be an irritant to your skin, and it is toxic. So I thought, well, pencil cactuses are cool, cacti, but I don't know. I just didn't need one. But I like it when they get really thick and they start to get very tall. I think that could be a cool accent plant in a corner, as long as it's a sunny corner, because they do need a lot of light. But and some of them have kind of that reddish tinge. I don't know. I can definitely appreciate them, but I just don't have one. And then I think the right chunky soil mix can make watering a lot more forgiving. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that soil plays a big part in watering as much as the pot does. I tend to lean towards just regular houseplant soils unless it is a cacti or a succulent, cactus or a succulent, because those just need a little bit more drainage. But I don't know. There's definitely certain plants that take different mixes. I mean, African violets, you can make your own mix just for African violets because they tend to prefer a little more acidity. So something like, is it peat moss? I think that makes it a little bit more acidic, but, or maybe it's sphagnum. It might be sphagnum, but yeah. Oh, look, there's my spouse right there. Levi for then. And then, what is your go-to soil mix for aeroids? For aeroids, I tend to just have a regular houseplant mix, and what I do for the aeroids is I'll get like an orchid bark mix, and I'll break up the bigger pieces a little bit, and I'll mix like a handful of that into the regular houseplant mix so that it gives it more of that kind of aeroid consistency, because of course aeroids don't necessarily, I mean, some of them do, but I mean, the vining aeroids don't like root into the soil. They attach to trees and things because they're epiphytes, meaning that they kind of lean on another tree, but they're not parasitic, right? They're just there to get the extra light. So that's why aeroids tend to need a little bit more drainage, like it's good to give them that, unless it's an aeroid that is not vining. So something like a peace lily, you don't really want a peace lily to drain fast because they already dry out super fast anyway. Sometimes we forget, like when we refer, like even me, like when I refer to aeroids, you know, I'm referring to all the plants in the family Araceae, which is so many of our house plants, Alocasia, you know, Spathiphyllum, Syngonium, Epipremnum, Philodendron. I can't even list them all. There's so many. Is Dracaena one of them? Dracaena might be one. Anyway, hopefully that helps. Do you think talking to your plants helps in any way? You know, I've heard different things about that. On the one hand, they say that talking to your plants gives, like, you're breathing out carbon dioxide, which plants, of course, use for photosynthesis. So there's that aspect of it, that breathing on them is supposed to help. But then there's the other aspect of, they've done studies with plants about, like, saying, like, mean things to them or saying nice things to them and how they react differently somehow. Like, somehow putting off negative energy affects plants. I think they did it with water too. But yeah, so be kind to your plants. I know sometimes they won't flower the way you want them to, but just give them encouragement. The most I say to them, I don't actually talk to my plants usually, unless it's like, unless there's a yellow leaf on it, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? Actually, right here, this is my cissus. This is Cissus quadrangularis, and it's got some leaves on it right now. They get these tiny leaves, but this is actually a succulent, and it's a pretty cool plant. Like I'm kind of lucky that I found this, but it's gotten very unruly, which is cool, I think. Like, I think it's cool that it's gotten like this. But the reason I show you this is because it's got a yellow part right here where it's probably going to drop this piece. And I'm just like, what's the deal? Why are you turning yellow? Like, there's no need for that. But anyway, it's been a good plant. It's grown a lot since I got it. If there was a fire and you could save just one plant, which would it be? Well, that's a good question. I'd probably be going for my cats first. But if the cats are safe, I would probably grab my aspidistra in one hand, and I would grab, I'd probably grab my Hawaii palm in the other because it was really expensive. So if anybody watched my video, oh yeah, dark form actually. That's the one I would probably grab because that thing is hard to find. I've actually only seen one. And what happened was we were walking through a greenhouse and my spouse is like, what is that? Like, what is that plant? And I looked at it and I'm like, what is that? Like, I had no idea. So we talked to the guy there. He's like, oh yeah, they shipped these wrong. They said they were moonlights and they were actually dark forms and they were only, was it $40 or $60? It was really cheap considering how big it is. I haven't done my video on what is he doing? I haven't done my video on Syndapsis yet, but I will, and that's going to be in it. I'm waiting on another species of Syndapsis to get here. Well, I haven't ordered it, so I'm not really waiting on it. I'm waiting to find it, and then I'll do the video. But yeah, the Hawaii palm, I finally found it. For those of you who watched the video where we went to the greenhouse, Suburban Lawn and Garden, I was looking for that. They didn't have it. And I finally found one, maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And it was, I think they had it on clearance, and it was like $150 on clearance, if that tells you how expensive those are. And I wanted one because I wanted to do a video, and I don't know why they're so hard to find. I think Kentia palms they're a lot more easygoing than most palms tend to be, other than like Chamaedorea, which is easy. But Kentia palms, they have this draping look. I'm going to do the video. I keep saying that. We've done more videos than we haven't done, I promise. But it has kind of this, I'm looking at it, it kind of has this drapey, kind of feathery, elegant look. It's pretty big. Hopefully it gets bigger. It hasn't been browning or anything, so I think I'm doing okay with it. Thank goodness. Oh, also, I do talk to my cats. Ginger, you said you talk to your dogs. I talk to my cats. You guys were watching me talk to my cats. Yeah, it's just my little babies. My favorite plant fact. That's interesting. That is really difficult. There are so many cool facts about plants, and we haven't gotten a ton into the science part of plants yet. I've done a little bit here and there, but I, I don't want to I don't want it to turn into like a science class, so I try to keep it, fairly simple. But I think the first thing that comes to mind is how plants keep their rigidity. Like, well, the peace lily would be a better example, but plants have this thing on their cells called a cell wall, and that cell wall is something that animal cells don't have because they don't need it. But inside the center of a plant cell is a big empty thing called a vacuole, and the vacuole holds water. Well, when the vacuole is full, it pushes out against the rest of the cell, and the cell wall helps keep that vacuole from expanding too far. So when a plant has been watered, that vacuole is full, right? And it's pushing, and all of those different cell walls of all the different cells are pushing together, and it creates rigidity. And when your plant needs water, well, when most plants need water, they wilt because those vacuoles are shrinking, kind of like your stomach when you get hungry. And so they don't have that same pressure. Is that turgor pressure? Isn't that what it's called? I'm having a flashback to college, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was a cool fact because I never understood why plants are like that. You just sort of assume that you know. But yeah, I guess also learning that plants are autotrophic. Autotrophic meaning they're self-feeding. They use light from the sun, water from the ground, and carbon dioxide from the air, in the process called photosynthesis to create ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate, which they use for fuel. Now, we use adenosine triphosphate as well, but we use it by ingestion. So I believe we're heterotrophic because we have to actually eat stuff, which I don't know which would be better. I mean, I like to eat, but some days I'm just like, let me just stand out in the sun and just photosynthesize. Anyway. Craziest fact is the corpse flower. How does it plant just smell like that? I know, yeah, well, there's a lot of weird things in the plant kingdom where it's like flowers that smell like corpses, plants that eat insects and small mammals if they're big enough. Like, I don't understand that. How we go from like moss, 400, 500 million years ago, all the way up to trees that flower and have these complex reproductive structures and everything. So I don't know. I think that's cool. I hope maybe someday they'll find like the missing pieces in the fossil record that kind of explain some of that. But I don't know. There's something about the mystery of it that's endearing. Dragonite spam, yes. Every time I see my big, well, it's not mine, but I go to Target and they have a big plush Dragonite, I think of you. So, here for the science, good, because I have more science videos coming. I also have some periphery videos, like things that are not directly about plants, but that are related to plants, like fruit. Fruit is something that is a staple in the human diet, and they come from plants. Without fruit and without like vegetables and things, I mean, we're done, right? So when I learned about the different types of fruit, I was kind of fascinated, which seems kind of nerdy, I guess, but learning things like, what was it? An apple is actually a berry, I think, and that some of the berries are part of the rose family, and like it's just all of these weird overlap things that are just interesting. Why does a pineapple look like that? Well, because is it an aggregate fruit? I mean, I'm gonna have to brush up because it's been a while, but basically all the flowers form into one fruit. I don't know, cool stuff like that. Now I want pineapple. What else do we got? Is the rare mock orchid the holy grail of plants in your opinion? The problem, there's not really a problem with orchids, but orchids are one of those kind of sects within like the plant hobby, where people who like orchids love orchids, and people who don't like orchids hate them. Like they just don't want anything to do with them. They have a different specialty of care. So as with any kind of collection, there's always going to be like the holy grail. There's always going to be something that people chase after just because it's either sought after because of its desirability, or because it actually is just plain rare, and you can't find it anywhere. I don't really have much experience with orchids other than the ones I throw away at work because they just don't last long in a retail setting. But I do remember seeing some blue ones that came through a different store, and I was like, wow, those are gorgeous. Like, I really want to get one, but I'm like, I don't really know much enough about orchid care to justify spending. It was like a $30 or $40 orchid too. I'm like, I'm good. But props to people that like orchids because they are beautiful. Orchid flowers are kind of funny too because orchids trick pollinators. They, like wasps and things, they trick them into pollinating the flower, but then they don't get like a reward for it. So they're kind of deceptive that way, but I think that's part of their charm. Fruit taxonomy is hilarious because it tends to differ a lot in the way that normal people think about fruit. Yes, for example, watermelons are also berries. Yes. Yeah, because like the other thing that people don't think about is that a lot of the things that we get in the produce department, most of those are fruit, honestly. I mean, squash, tomatoes, green beans. I mean, all of those things have seeds in them, and like peppers, things that bear seeds are fruit. Things where you're actually eating part of the plant itself, like celery and lettuce, those are vegetables because you're eating the actual plant itself. So most vegetables are actually going to be green because you're eating the leaves. But yeah, botanically, a lot of things are actually fruit. Orchid and Hoya people have their own cults. I didn't realize that Hoyas were a cult until recently. Good transition though, because I do have my Hoya that's flowering, and here it is. This is my Hoya obovata, and look at my pretty round leaves. And then here are the flowers. And just before I went live, I noticed all of the little droplets and everything on it. And it smells so beautiful. And I didn't know if it would smell. I'm trying to think of how to describe it to you guys. Like, it's just a really sweet, pleasant smell. It's not really overbearing. Like, I love the smell of jasmine, but it's really overbearing. Gardenia is really overbearing, but this is just the right amount of amazing. So I'm really, really happy that this flowered. This is really the only Hoya that I'm interested in. No offense, Hoya fans, but I don't know. I really love this plant. I'm glad that I kept it. I just love these leaves, those round leaves that are just speckled with that silver. Good stuff. I'm really happy about it. I love how orchids look, but I'm not that into collecting them because I like it when plants get big and unruly, and orchids don't usually do that in captivity. No, they don't. The same with a lot of succulents. I mean, a lot of your succulents and cacti, they get big in the wild, but inside they either take years to get that big or they just don't. They're just more, I don't know, ground dwelling. I mean, of course I'm looking back there at everything. The thing that jumped out at me was my Ripsalis paradoxa, which has gotten really long. I can almost reach it. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I don't know. That was a really hard plant to find too. Maybe that would be the third plant I grab if there was a fire. But Cattleya orchids are one of my favorite of those plants. I'll have to look that up, Ray. Like I said, I just haven't done a lot of orchid research, but there are so many different kinds, and I guarantee there are so many that have been bred probably in the past 50 years just because of that niche of those orchid fans and everything. All fruits and vegetables, but not all vegetables. All fruits are vegetables, but not all vegetables are fruit. I guess in the sense that fruit is part of the plant. I mean, it was the flower, and the plant does bear it. You could say that, in a way, it's a vegetable, because if the definition of a vegetable is eating part of the plant, interesting. Found that one in St. Louis. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did. That paradoxa, we found that in St. Louis at a greenhouse. Because when we travel, we tend to stop at greenhouses because you just never know what you're going to find, right? And I happened to find that one, and I was so excited. I was about to buy it online, and I'm like, I can't find the right one, and it's just, I want to see it. I want to be able to see it. But yeah, sort of all squares or rectangles. Yeah, so like when you say that, Dragonite, it just makes me think of like math class and how they're talking about like, oh, all of these are quadrilaterals and a square is really just a short rectangle, and then there's like a trapezoid, and it's, I don't know. I love geometry, but I don't think I can do it now. Do you have one annoying habit you wish plant owners would stop? Interesting. For me personally, this is just me personally. I prefer having plants that are whole. And when I say whole, I mean like you look at the plant. I wish I had more plants near me. Here, I'll grab this one. Here's my my Epiprimnum amplissimum, and just kind of look at the shape of it. Like it's a nice full shape. You know, this Dracaena is a nice full shape. Like I don't like walking into somebody's house and all they have are little bitty shot glasses of cuttings, and like that's all the plants they have. It's nothing but cuttings. Like that's cool. And you know, those things will get bigger and maybe eventually they'll have like fuller plants. But for me personally, I just like the look right off the bat of like a full plant. Unless I got a cutting from like a friend or something, which is rare. I mean, my Syngonium albo was actually a cutting from a friend. Of course, Syngoniums grow really fast too. And now it's not necessarily a full plant, but it's enough. Like it's enough that there's a pretty good amount there. So I don't know, that's not a bad habit necessarily, but it's just something I don't like seeing, you know, just all of these vases and, you know, tiny little pots and things. Like, where's the big ones? Where's your ficus? Where's your big palm and stuff? Like, I want to see some jungle in there. What else? Betsy Begonia just put out a video on the history of orchids in Victorian times. Very interesting. I forgot that they went back that far. I mean, we did that history of houseplants, and I don't remember. I don't remember if I mentioned orchids or not. But orchids, it's just one of those things. Imagine, you know, 200 or 300 years ago, you know, you've got this bougie greenhouse in the moors of England or something, and you know, in this greenhouse you have these beautiful, delicate specimens of orchids, and you're just kind of like experimenting like a scientist and everything. I mean, I don't know. That would have been a cool time to live. Well, you know, maybe for a week. After that, I'd be like, okay, I want McDonald's. But yeah, especially during like Carl Linnaeus's, you know, era. I mean, imagine being like alive then when he's doing all of this work with taxonomy and discovering all these new things, and then you have Darwin, you know, right behind him, like, you know, doing all of this research about animals and plants and fungi and everything. I mean, I don't know, what a revolutionary time that must have been, you know, to be able to get into that kind of hobby. But I don't know, that would have also been a lot of traveling by boat and, you know, malaria and tuberculosis and what else. But also, I'll have to check out Betsy Begonia because I haven't heard of her. Most of the common house plants go back to when hothouses started becoming trendy for rich people in the Industrial Revolution, don't they? It's complicated. Like our history with houseplants goes all the way back to like the beginning of like Egypt and everything. Like we kept plants inside even when we were working outside. Like we had plants inside just to bring nature in. Like that's human instinct to be a part of nature, not these skyrise, you know, apartments and hotels and stuff. Like we want to be back to our roots at our core. But as far as when they really started to become like houseplants, it would have been in like the kind of like the early Renaissance. But back then you're talking like citrus trees and things that they were bringing over from the New World, you know, that they'd never heard of before. Oh, whoops. There we go. What? Oh, okay. Just things from these exotic lands. Like imagine that you live in Europe and then somebody brings you an orange tree from the New World, and you're like, what is this spherical, delicious, vitamin-packed thing? Have a good one, Robert. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. It was good seeing you. But one of the things that helped with that was when glass became a lot less expensive, they were able to put these plants in these glass boxes on boats so that the salty air and the elements didn't like, destroy the plants. So that really opened up the door to get all kinds of new stuff. Mandy says that she wants you to say hi. Are you listening? Planty Mandy wants you to say hi.
Hi.
No, I think she wants you to come to the camera. Just for a second.
I'm undressed.
No, he's not. He's got a shirt on. So this is Wes. This is my spouse. He's the one that does all of the video editing, 100%. So we wouldn't have videos if it wasn't for him. I'm just the one that records them. So yes, we make a pretty good team. So
Bye.
Where were we? I'm really interested in getting a pitcher plant. Never had one. How do you feel about these? I was saying earlier that honestly, if you're going to get a pitcher plant, definitely roll Nepenthes, because I think Nepenthes is easier than Sarracenia. So the difference is Sarracenia grows right out of the ground, and Nepenthes is the one that you see in the baskets that have like the flowers hanging. So I think those are just a little more forgiving. So yeah, if you want to try one, give it a try. You live in the perfect place for it, so I feel a burp coming on. I'm trying not to be obnoxious about it. Excuse me. Where are we at? Can't wait. Me too, right? Will be my next plan. Hi, Wes. Hi, excellent. The Bane cinematic universe grows. Dragonite, wasn't it you that was like talking about Bane's linguistics? Because that's totally a thing that could happen. Just because, for those of you who don't know, I majored in English, so I am kind of an English nerd, which is why, yeah, well, if you ever hear me struggle with cacti and cactuses, like, both of them work, but there's just part of me that's like, no, it's cacti, not cactuses. Yes, in the basket. Yes. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about talking would be a very fun introduction. Yeah. Let's talk about talking. Let's talk about writing. I don't know. The thing is, like, I like to teach people. I don't want to teach in a classroom necessarily, just because.
You're good at it, though.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, I wouldn't want to teach like high school students, because I would want to teach people who want to learn. And that was part of the motivation for starting this channel, is that here's this huge platform where I can reach out and try to help people, and to open up the dialogue and everything, and not have to go get my doctorate to teach at a college, even though that would be amazing. I mean, I was always so jealous of my professors that have these nice offices filled with books and they're just total nerds. Like, oh, I would love that. But I just don't know if I have it in me to go get that much more school done. So, I don't know. I also heard there's a lot of like school system drama. And I don't know. I don't want to mess with that. I just want to teach. Nepenthes are pretty easy. Pure water and lots of light. Keep a little moist, but use a chunky mix. Mine is sphagnum and perlite, no nutrients. Yes, a couple of really good points about that. You cannot water carnivorous plants with tap water. You can't do it. Like, all of the minerals and stuff in there will kill them. They're too sensitive for that. So be wary. They say use distilled water. That's like the best to use. I haven't gotten one. One to try like reverse osmosis water, but I assume that would be about the same. And then the other thing about no nutrients, you don't fertilize them either. Fertilizer is way too strong to give to carnivorous plants. Like, it'll just fry them. So be careful about that if you are venturing into carnivorous plants. I didn't realize there was so much interest in these. I clearly need to do the video soon, so I will keep that in mind. Be nice, please. Let's see. Are fish flakes a myth, or do they actually work? Hi, Mustard. Thanks for coming. I'm glad you're here. As far as fish flakes go, I haven't tried it myself. I've heard people say that fish flakes can be done, but fish flakes, I have fish flakes, but not for my plants. I have it for my cockroaches. I have a pair of Madagascar hissing cockroaches, which, if I would have thought about it, I would have grabbed them. But I won't freak you guys out this time. But yeah, Let me do some more research on the fish flake thing, because that could be something I could bring up in another video. We didn't really cover organic fertilizers when I did fertilizing. Mostly we were talking about when to fertilize, what it does, the macronutrients, how to do it with artificial fertilizers. So that's something I need to do more research on myself, but please let me know like on a video or something if you try that and it works. There's part of me that wants to get a sundew or fly trap or something, try to keep the fungus that probably is under control. You know, I thought about that, and I think the one to do it with would be Pinguicula. Now, for those of you who don't know what Pinguicula is, it's kind of it kind of looks like an Echeveria. So picture like the rosette succulent, only instead of being succulent, the leaves are sticky and they can catch fungus gnats. And most of the ones I've seen for sale are covered in fungus gnats. So look into Pinguicula. There's a couple of different species that come from different places, and I've heard that certain ones are easier than others. But yes. Yeah, I use reverse osmosis water. Perfect, because that's what I do. Can we see the roaches? I could grab one if they don't hiss at me. I'm actually in Trinidad. Sister Isle of Tobago, presently missing my plants in between. Okay, I always forget which one you're from. Tobago. So Trinidad is where you are right now. Hi, Gwen. Athena is still with me. I will grab her again here in just a second. The other cats are nowhere to be found, but, you know, living fly paper. They are. That's exactly what they are. I agree, Pinguicula are way easier than fly traps. Fly traps, of the 5, so of the 5, Pinguicula, Sarracenia, Nepenthes, Drosera, and Dionea, which is the fly traps, I would say, in my experience, Dionea is the hardest. Like, fly traps are just so hard to keep alive. I mean, people can do it. I mean, there's lots of people that, you know, they specialize in carnivorous plants, but I just think Dionea is the hardest. Don't quote me on that, but my opinion. Okay, well, I've still got Athena here, and I know Gwen has been waiting anxiously, so I am going to grab her one more time. One more time. Oh, there's a little baby. Hi, sweetheart. She's like, why are we doing this again, huh? Why don't you stay with me? Yes, hi. Hi. Okay, you can go back to where you were. Okay, get your tail out though. It's no problem. Give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna get a quick drink and I'm gonna grab a little surprise. 2 seconds. Of course, I'm sitting here trying to talk and I get like something in my throat. So this is one of my hissing cockroaches, and he's kind of grumpy because I pulled him out, but he's okay. Hi, buddy. He probably won't, oh. Well, it's like he wants to hiss, but he won't.
You move him from hand to hand, probably.
Well, maybe. Here, come on. Come here. Oh. I don't know if you guys can hear him, but... Say hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. Meanwhile, there's some people that are like, oh my God, what is he holding? I thought this was a plant channel. Yeah, well, insects are really important to the plant kingdom as well. We'll probably do a video on insects, just some of the basics, just because, I don't know, they're important. I'm kind of an appreciator of like all life, other than the ones that, you know, give diseases and stuff like mosquitoes and things that attack you like wasps. Ugh. It's like I got an oat or something because I had a granola bar.
Show 'em, right?
Yeah. Can you trade me? Okay. Man, he's got some big horns on him. Quit. Okay. I'm trading for my kitten. This is Merlin. Hi, Merlin. Oh, he's a precious little boy. Hi. Yeah. He's like, what's all this? What's all this up here, buddy? Yeah. So Merlin is a year old, and he is he's a Persian. Yeah, he's a Persian kitty. He's got beautiful blue eyes, and he is a handful. He gets into everything. And oh, nope, nope. We're not doing that. Okay. But he loves my plants, I think, more than any of the other ones because he just likes to hide in them and kind of disappear. But yeah. Let me scroll back up because I feel like I may have missed a comment. Ginger's allergic. We need some Benadryl. In my head, the Pokemon. Oh, 8 o'clock. The things went off. It was super effective. Yeah, I needed a cat type, not a bug type, so I switched it. But yeah. The only other one you guys didn't see was, well, Spice. That is Athena's sister. She looks like Athena, very bushy, except for she's all gray. And she's very vocal. So if you ever hear any of the cats meowing in my videos, it's her. And then the old man, Icarus, he is 18. He's a skinny Russian blue. Okay, I just broke that. But yeah, those are the kitties. And I also have a betta fish, but I'm not gonna hold the betta fish. If you guys saw my video on aquatic plants, which was like last summer maybe, my fish is in that and he's still alive, so that's good. Did I show all the plants that I have on the table? I did. I'm trying to think. Do you guys have any plants that you know I have that you want to see, like how they're doing, or if you want to know if I have a certain plant? Because I can grab it. Like most of my plants are right here, not all of them. Some of them are on the patio, but yeah, I don't know. I figure, oh, I do have cat hair all over me. Well, it's okay. It started trying to flower. Oh, yeah. I thought you were here for that. I guess not. No, the Hoya, I've got it right here. It's got the beautiful, what would you call that color? I feel like it is like mauve. If you guys ever colored with crayons, that looks like mauve to me. So, I just can't get over how good it smells. Like, it just blows my mind. It does look like candy, like, and it smells very sweet like candy, except maybe not candy because it smells like flowers, but I'm trying to see if I've got anything else back here that's interesting. Hey, Wes, can you bring me a phone charger? My phone is getting low, but that's okay. My Homalamina, that thing died forever ago. Like, Homalaminas are just so flipping hard to take care of. Oh, the flower stuff got on me. I don't, like, it was doing fine, and then it got a little wilty, and then I watered it, and then it was fine again, and then it got spider mites, and then I threw it away. Because I'm just like, you know what? It's not worth this drama. I don't know if that's going to be long enough.
You can only get
Well, no. Here,
a.
well, like, I'm at like 3%, so we need to like, here, I'm just, oh. Here, I can just move the table a little bit.
Just give me a.
Eventually, I'm going to get a new phone that holds the charge better. Ah, perfect. Bear with me just a second. I'll plug this in. Oh, that's not working. Okay. Let's see. I'm just trying to do something. Do you have a propagation station? I do. I'll show you my propagation station here in just a second. So what I have seen Hymalaminas do is they will flower, and Hymalaminas are actually aroids, so they are in the same family as, peace lilies and alocasias and the whole thing. So they do have kind of a spadix with a spathe type flower. They're not very remarkable, and I would imagine that most people who own like a Hymalamina probably just go ahead and cut it off just because flowering takes a lot of energy out of plants. So if it's not a flower worth having, most people will cut them off just so that they can devote more energy towards like foliage growth, if that makes any sense. So what did you grab? Oh, he's going upstairs. But yes. I'm trying to think of other plants that I don't have now that I did. Hymalamina was definitely the number one that probably failed miserably, but I feel like I got a cat hair right there. Oh no, that's on my screen. Okay. Show me what you got. What was it Captain Falcon said on F-Zero? Show me your moves. Oh, that's smart.
Do that.
Is it plugged in already? Oh, okay. Beautiful. See, aren't you glad we found that? Well, maybe. Does it have to be turned on? There. If I can get it to sit. Ah, there we go. Without falling over, please stay. Ah. Okay, propagation station. Let me grab that. Which is right here. What? Oh, I'll grab her. Right now, I have a couple of littler ones, but right now I've got this one. And it's got some Cebu blue cuttings in it. My Cebu blue started to get kind of sickly looking because it was in my bedroom and it wasn't getting enough light. So to help it fill out a little bit, I took some cuttings and I'm gonna plant these in the main pot so that I just want it to look a little bit fuller. It got a little too leggy over the winter. So yeah, this is the one prop station I have. I had another one here, but it cracked because this isn't like the highest quality. But yeah. Oh my goodness, that wants to tip. That's okay. And oh, she disappeared. I had Spice here and she vanished. I'll catch her if she comes back around. My favorite plant word to say. Ooh, that's another good question. Alternanthera is always the first one that comes to mind. Like, I love that word. I don't know why I like it so much. It's just a lot of fun to say, Alternanthera. Schismatoglottis is okay, but Schismatoglottis also sounds a little bit like a body part. Like, oh, he's got an infection in his Schismatoglottis. Like, oh, sorry to hear that. Rhaphidophora is pretty fun too. And I know I'm missing one. Thematophyllum. We haven't covered Thematophyllum yet, but we will because I've got one sitting right down there. Aeschynanthus is good. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Oh, Schismatoglottis. I had that heartleaf fern, if anybody watched one of my recent videos, and that was Hemionitis, but then it looks like Hemionitis, like it's some sort of disease. So that particular fern is not doing very well. I'm looking right at it. Don't buy a heartleaf fern. They're kind of hard to take care of, but yeah. If anyone was wondering, this is an Alternanthera. They require pretty moist soil. Sorry, Christian, if you're watching. They really need to stay pretty wet. And most of the other species of Alternanthera are aquatic. So yeah, it's a cool little plant though. Well, except for that leaf it dropped. But what do you use for plants, fertilizer or soil conditioner? I use fertilizer just because to me it's just what I immediately think to go to. I think that's just what my mom used, and I try to moderate how much fertilizer I give because I don't want to burn the plants. So I'm kind of a hesitant fertilizer, just like I'm a hesitant water sometimes. But I don't really have any experience with soil conditioners, and I don't have a lot of experience with organics. So I know even at Walmart we sell lots of organics as far as fertilizer goes, bone meal, fish emulsion, things like that. But I just haven't done that yet. Maybe I should. I'm just still using the 2 bottles of fertilizer I have from like a year ago. So, um, what about you, Gwen? What do you use? Just out of curiosity. And then we have gly- glyptostroboides. Glyptostroboides makes me sound smart. What is glyptostroboides? Because I have no idea what that is. Rhaphidophora, Radermachera. I think he's just scrolling through my list up there. But yeah. Yes. A few years ago, I bought some fish emulsion thinking it would be a good choice for hydroponic fertilizer, and then about 5 seconds after I opened it, the whole room smelled like a dead body. Oof, yeah. See, that would be the problem with using like fish in particular, is that it will have a smell. But I imagine it is really good for the plants. Like, I can't deny that. But I wonder how much, like, let's say you use it, right? Like, and you use it in your plants. I mean, I've got 80 plants. I don't want the whole house smelling like a dead fish. So I don't know. Maybe that would be something better to use outside. HB 101. Now, is that a soil conditioner or is that a fertilizer? I was going to say something else about, we were talking about names or plant words. I mean, you can't go wrong with photosynthesis either. It's a tree, Metasequoia glyph. The other word is the Latin for dawn redwood, my favorite tree. Okay. I can see the cats wanting to get into the plants that smell like fish. They have different tastes. Like, some of them only like chicken, some of them only like ocean stuff. So I don't know. They would definitely be intrigued by the smell, though, I think. And then my favorite tree, I would say my favorite tree is Ginkgo biloba. We'll probably do a video on ginkgo just because I think that's a really fascinating tree. Oh, they took off. But yeah, ginkgo has a really interesting history, and it's just a gorgeous tree, just with the fan-shaped leaves and everything. I love it. If I had space for a fish tank, I'd probably be a lot of fun to play with the aquaponics and using the fish waste to feed the plants. I've heard that too. I've heard that you can use aquarium water to water your plants, and it's supposed to be good because of like the fish waste and just kind of the different bacterias and things that grow in there. Again, one of those things I haven't tried yet, but my fish tank is only about this big. Like, it's not very big at all. I think it's like a 3-gallon, so there's not a lot of watering room. And since I only have the one fish and a snail, but I think that everybody should try like a little aquarium once, who has plants, that is. Like, get yourself an aquatic plant, give it a try, kind of housing this aquatic environment. You don't have to get fish, but I think that when you have kind of that self-contained environment, it's really neat being able to take care of it. And there are several species of easy aquatic plants that you can try. Anubias is like the #1 for sure, but there's a couple of others as well. Watch my aquarium video, the aquatic plant one. Can I ask what you pot your Synapsis dark form in? My Synapsis dark form is in regular plant soil. I think it might be in like a tropical mix. I don't remember exactly what I planted it in, but I can tell you that it was out of a bag and that it wasn't anything like super special. So it was probably the indoor potting mix by Miracle Grow, or it could have been the tropical mix by Miracle Grow. So the first one's in a gray bag, the second one's in kind of a purplish pink bag. And that's all I did. And honestly, it's doing really well, and I didn't think it would. Because I've had Synapsis trebui Moonlight, and the Moonlight didn't do very well for me. Like, it always seemed to struggle. Like, the leaves were always kind of dying back and everything. So I'm like, this isn't really for me. But then when we found that one, I'm like, well, we got to give it a try at least. It just looks like it would be an easier plant to take care of because of the darker leaves. The darker the leaf, the easier it photosynthesizes, the easier it is to care for generally. Not always, but generally. Think about Ficus elastica, think about Zamioculcas, like the Raven ZZ, the dark form. Um, well, I'm looking at an exception. I just looked down and I saw my Geogenanthus, and that has really dark leaves, and that thing dies if you sneeze on it. So, Ginkgo biloba is the only surviving species of its genus. Same with Dawn redwood and the genus of Metasequoia. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that Ginkgo biloba is the oldest living species of tree. Like it's like one of the first, trees, and they've mostly remained unaffected by evolution and everything over time. They're still basically the same as they were back then. I always thought it would be cool if they found a seed or something in the Antarctic ice and they bloomed it and it was like a different species of ginkgo. Like how crazy would that be? But let's see. Well, I see it in your videos and it's amazing. Thank you. I wish I could take credit for it, but honestly, it's just doing its thing. I'm gonna grab it off the shelf here in a minute. It's a little heavy, but I got it. How is your China doll and Geogenanthus doing? The Geogenanthus is doing fine. It's not the same Geogenanthus that was in the video. I will admit that. I have a new one, and I decided I put it in a ceramic pot, and I'm going to put it with my plants in the kitchen. So my kitchen plants are the ones that remind me to water them more often. So right now, my Hedera helix is in there, my peace lily is in there, and my Ficus pumila is in there. Oh, and my silver maranta, because those are plants that just tend to need more water, and they need to be watered more often. This should probably be in there, but it's been retaining water pretty well since I put it in this pot. So I haven't really felt compelled to keep an eye on it. But yeah, my Geogenanthus needs to go in there because they just need so much water, even when you touch them, and they feel so succulent, but they need a lot of water. Yeah, let me grab the China doll. I'll show that to you too. Sago palms and cycads too, I think. Sago palms and cycads. Yes, yeah, no, those are really old too. Cycads and sago palms, sago palms are cycads, and they are from an older group called the gymnosperms. And gymnosperms are made up of basically pines, the cycads, these weird plants called neophytes, which a lot of which are endangered, and ginkgo. So my Geogenanthus is in a grow tent, and I think it's getting better. Good, good. Now Geogenanthus, I haven't seen one that's really big, but since they are relative to Tradescantia, I imagine that they're not going to get big. They're just going to kind of trail. But they are such unique plants. I mean, it's hard not to want to have one just because they're so unique. There's no other plant like that really. Well, except for the other Geogenanthus, because there's two species, and one of them has a smaller leaf that kind of has striping on it, and then there's the one that has the bigger leaf. That's the one I see more often. What did I say I was going to grab? I think I said this one. Here is my Radermakera, the China doll plant. I just watered it recently. It's got, okay, so it has a couple of dried leaves right there. Geez Louise, it's not that big of a deal. They drop the bottom leaves anyway. But yeah, no, it still looks good. I think it looks good considering, well, I think it looks good. Now, will it be one that I keep forever? I don't know. I don't really like the burden of having a plant that's kind of a little more on the fragile side long term. So something like this gets big, right? This turns into a tree. Even inside, this could easily get, 6 or 7 feet tall if, kept in the right conditions. And I just don't know if I want to struggle with keeping it in the right conditions for that long. So yeah, it is a really beautiful plant, and I did want to make sure I do a video on it. But long term, I don't know. I'm not that impressed by it. It is pretty, but I just don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. See, well, my Geogenanthus, yeah, right. I have the striped geo and a dark purple geo. The China doll does look good. Yeah, I mean, I can see a couple of spots where I'm like, okay, it doesn't look great right here, but we'll see, like I said. Let me grab my dark form. This thing. This is like a spoiler alert, you guys. I was gonna wait until I did the video, but it's okay. Here's my dark form. It has gotten quite long. It's got a lot of extra leaves on it now, but yeah, well, there's a couple of leaves in here that need to come out, but like this one and this one right here. The thing is, I tried to take cuttings of this, and they just don't really propagate that well. And maybe I didn't give it long enough, but in my experience, I don't know. The props didn't take. Let me know if somebody's had that same experience, but see, just a little yellow leaf, but I don't want it on there. How did I get it to grow this large? Well, it was already pretty big when I got it, so I can't really take a lot of credit for it. But when I got it, it was probably about like right there. So all of this extra growth it's done, it's grown in my house. But it was already a really good looking, healthy plant. But this is one of those plants where I've just kind of erred on the side of caution and leaving it alone. Like, I know some people are really over attentive plant parents, which is fine, but this is just one of those plants where you just don't want to mess with it a whole lot, just because you end up over watering it or something, or over fertilizing it, and then it's kind of toast. But Syndapsis are tricky to propagate. I only do mine in damp perlite. Interesting, but they take a long time. I've had them rot in water, so I won't do that anymore. Damp perlite. I'll have to give that a try. I mean, they do grow rather slowly. I mean, they are kind of relative, of course, to Epipremnum, because of course they're both aeroids, but Syndapsis grows slower than Epipremnum for sure. Like, they just, the leaves seem to have so much more substance to them. Like, when I touch these leaves, they just feel thicker somehow. So they just don't grow as fast. I mean, there's my golden pothos. That's the plant I've had the longest. I've had that since 2016. And it just never stops growing. I can propagate it. They take right away. I mean, Epipremnum is really popular for a reason, because they're very forgiving. They're easy to propagate. My biggest issue with Epipremnum in the past has been that some of the more exotic versions of them tend to have problems with like brown spots and kind of stunted growth if you're not giving them enough light. I'm thinking like the Manula, I'm thinking like Pearls and Jade. Those need a good amount of light and water so that they can photosynthesize the way they should. Right now, the only one, excuse me, right now the only ones I have is, I have my golden right there. I have the Aplissimum, which needs a lot of water. I have my Cebu Blue, and I have a Jade. So I love the Jade because it's just like the original, right? Like, it's just, I don't know. I love that classic green leaf look. Yes. Let me pop this back up real quick. Oh my goodness. It is really heavy. I'm kind of peeking around on my shelves here. I'm still trying to figure out, like, it's doing okay, but let me show you. This is my Rhaphis, or Rhaphis, however you want to say it. This is my Rhaphis palm. And it's still doing fine, but like, you guys see those brown tips? Like, it still is just getting brown tips. And I just love this palm so much. It's wet, and it's like dripping right now, but I love the look of that palm, and I don't know why, but it just wants to keep getting brown tips. And I don't know if it's a humidity thing, if I'm just not watering it enough, but I really want it to do well. Because if I had to pick one palm, even against my Kentia palm, which was expensive, but I love the look of that one so much. Yeah, I need to figure that out. So if you guys have any experience with Rafus, let me know. But yeah, what are we? Where's my phone at? There it is. Okay. Oh. What else do you guys got? I feel like I've been doing all the talking. This is a pretty good turnout. Like, I really appreciate you guys showing up and everything. Like, I wasn't sure how much interest there would be in this, but it's so nice getting to interact with you guys, like, face to face, and not just have to wait until I make another video, which I do need to edit another one. Wes. Face to text. Okay, that's fair. It's not really face to face. It's face to text, but that's still a closer connection than just, you know, dropping each other messages on YouTube. But I feel like there's some plant that I have totally forgotten about that I have not mentioned on the channel yet, and it's just escaping me. I can tell you that right now, as far as wish list plants go, I don't know what you guys are looking for, but right now I am after, I want to get a Monstera Peru, like I think they also call them Green Galaxy. I've got lots of them at work. I just haven't, like, you know, put the money out yet to get it. I also want a very specific, like, Ficus benjamina. I kind of want to get like an elbow one, but I don't know. The thing about Ficus benjamina is that they're a little tricky to take care of, and they do drop leaves. That's just kind of what they do. Weeping fig, right? But my mom always had these two really big ones, and so they just mean a lot to me personally. Like, even if I struggle with them sometimes, like, that's one of the original plants that got me into plants, you know, because that was just something I remember as a kid, seeing these giant trees that I couldn't even reach the top of, right? I mean, you're just a kid. So that's just one of those things. There was one more plant. I'm like, I want to get that plant. I don't remember what it is. Oh, the other Syndapsis. Costa Farms has made a couple of new varieties of Syndapsis. One of them's like a mint green solid leaf, and then there's another one that has a really beautiful pattern on it. I can't remember what they're called, but Mount Salac, I think, is one of them. But they're sold out right now on the website because I'm an idiot and waited too long. But yeah. Ooh, I do have one plant to show you after I show my Geogenanthus, because Mandy asked. Ficus Audrey would have been a really good plant for my mom to have, but I don't think she knew about it. But I love Ficus Audrey. I think it's a gorgeous plant. I love the leaves. It's probably one of my favorite ficuses. But yeah, let me get the Geo. This is my Geogenanthus currently. No browning of the leaves, other than maybe like a little crispy right here. It's a little cool. I probably need to get it up off the ground, but yeah, this is it right now. I haven't had it for too long, so don't think I'm like, doing really well with this when I'm not. But yeah, it's also interesting how fuzzy the bottoms of the leaves are too. I just think that's kind of neat. But it looks great for now, Mandy. Yeah, Gwen, you're right. Don't move them. They're finicky. You got to find just the right place for them and then leave them alone. And even when you leave them alone, when the weather cools off, they'll still drop their leaves. That's just what they do. But being a tree, they'll grow them back as long as you take care of them. I almost forgot. Have you ever been one to try to grow fruit from the grocery store? I did in college because it was required. One of my last classes I took for the plant science minor was a class actually on horticulture, focusing on like the growth of food and everything. So I remember getting, like, I think they were squash seeds, and like growing the squash seeds in like a Ziploc bag and putting it next to the window. Also, I remember getting, do you guys know the decorative squashes you get during autumn? And you go to the grocery store and it's just a little mesh bag of like 5 or 6 weird looking gourds. And I remember cutting those open, and I still have the seeds. I just haven't planted them yet. But one time I threw one of them out, and the next year I had pumpkins growing in the yard. Not actual pumpkins, but like those same decorative squashes started growing in my backyard. And I was like, I didn't even try. Like, it just did it. So I don't know. That was pretty cool. I kind of want to do that again, except I don't really have a yard now. The way my house is set up, we don't have space to plant. But I don't know. There's a little space. Maybe I could. Let me scroll back. Oh my gosh, don't fall. I'm just reading through here. Those are probably some of my favorite ones I have because getting something to grow out of the produce aisle requires a bit of creativity. Yeah, and not everything that you buy in the store will actually grow. For one thing, some things are seedless, and there are also just certain plants that are really difficult to get them to go. Even if you get the plant itself to grow, getting it to flower and then produce fruit, I mean, it's a challenge. I mean, I can't imagine trying to do that with like a pineapple. I mean, pineapple is just something that's so extremely tropical that it's just, you can do it with the right conditions, but tomorrow I have to get my plants ready for Tropical Storm Ernesto. So it will be a busy morning. Elenita, where are you in the world? I haven't really been following the tropical storm season, mostly because I'm like in the center of the U.S., so it's not something that really affects me necessarily. But I'm curious. Be safe. Make sure your plants are safe. Make sure you're safe too. Last year, we also got a bunch of decorative pumpkins around Thanksgiving or so, and when they started getting cross, I just flung them. That's a great way to put it. When they started getting cross, like they're getting angry. Oh, screw this pumpkin, it's out of here. And now the pumpkin vines are so big, I should probably start charging them rent. Isn't it crazy how big pumpkin leaves are? Like the pumpkin plant, like they are big for a vine. But of course, think about how big the fruit is that it produces. You know, those leaves, they've got to get a ton of sunlight. So, bonsai is something I want to try. How do you feel about the art? I don't have a lot of experience with bonsai. And I know that bonsai is supposed to be like this transformative, like Zen experience. But for me, I don't like cutting on plants. I think that's where you kind of lose me with the whole bonsai thing because I don't know. I don't even like pruning my actual plants. I mean, I'll do it, but I don't know. Doesn't it feel bad just to like cut them sometimes? But if I did do bonsai, I would probably do one of the ones that looks more like pine as opposed to the ones that are the ficus ginseng, which have big leaves on them. But yeah, I don't know. Bonsai is an interesting art, and it's very, very old. I would sooner do like a Zen garden with like the little sand, where you like comb the sand and have the little stones. Like I like that, but or a water fountain. Puerto Rico, well, you know, hola from Los Estados Unidos. Well, I mean, you're technically a territory, I guess, but still, yeah, that's cool. Well, be safe. I know Puerto Rico's kind of right in the middle of the Caribbean there, so. And Kansas right in the middle of Tornado Alley. It is technically. So Kansas, they say that Tornado Alley is moving east because of like climate change or whatever, but we don't have a ton of tornadoes here, knock on wood. Most of the tornadoes in Tornado Alley are actually like northern Texas and Oklahoma. I wouldn't live in Oklahoma. I mean, it's just a big flat place where tornadoes can hit, right? So, but we've had a couple of close calls this year. A couple of times the sirens went off. So for those of you who don't live in the world where there are tornadoes, it's really scary when the sirens go off and they're like, take cover because this huge cyclone might blow you away. Not a lot of fun, but oh, I meant to type starting to get gross, but I guess cross also works. I was wondering because I'm like, who says that anymore? I love that you use this kind of old word. Oh, she's just so cross today. Like, ugh. But speaking of heavy winds, what are your thoughts on shaking the base of tree-like plants to develop their root flare base? Have you tried it before? Do you think it's worthwhile? I haven't tried that aspect of it. What I have tried is certain plants, especially if you're going to put them outside, they benefit from kind of adapting to wind a little bit. So, like, if they're not really sensitive, like putting a fan on them just to get their leaves moving, get their branches moving a little bit, because when a tree or a plant, when a plant can kind of exercise like that, it becomes more adaptable to winds. Because it's almost like it's almost like if you tried to do the splits right now, you're probably going to pull a muscle because you haven't stretched enough to do that. But if you stretch enough, then you can do the splits and you're fine. It's kind of the same idea with plants when they're inside and they're not moving at all. Well, they don't need to have that adaptability of being able to sway without breaking. Does that make sense? So I guess it stands to reason that the shaking thing, that could also work, but I haven't done any research personally, so it's worth trying. I mean, it's not, right? Let's see. Oh, you guys are so sweet, being supportive to her. We just saw the new Twisters movie. I thought it was excellent. I haven't seen it yet. I loved the first one. Don't spoil anything, but I'm hoping that they have some sort of like, I don't know, cameo, from the old one, because from the previews it looks very similar to the first one in the story aspect, but I don't know. I want to go see it just because I did love the first one so much. That's like a memory of being a kid watching that movie and then being terrified of tornadoes, like, because I'm from Indiana originally, and believe it or not, Indiana gets hit with way more tornadoes than Kansas does, so I had a lot more close calls there. I don't know why, it's just, but luckily I had a basement, and I have a basement here too, so. Ray retracted something. What are you typing, Ray? And then I know that if you grow vegetables from seed in the spring, it's recommended to put a fan or something in them a little while before exposing them to the elements. Yeah, and it's all about, it's kind of like getting, a child vaccinations or, kind of those booster shots and things to kind of develop their immune system. It's a similar thing with plants where you want to get them ready for the outside. And it's also why when you buy stuff in greenhouses, you have to be careful about putting it outside, or just because it didn't it didn't develop in that outside environment. A stray cat will be able to adapt more outside than a kitten that you raised inside. So I don't know if that analogy makes any sense, but what do you know about Jatropha podgorica? Mine is outside and something is eating the leaves. Thanks, Ray, for stopping by. It was so good to see you. Enjoy Trinidad. I'm looking forward to when you get home and you can be with your plants again. It was really good seeing you, so have a good night. I have not, honestly, I've not heard of Jatropha podgorica. Podgorica. Is that a type of tree by chance or shrub? Yeah. I'm going to learn something new today. Ugh. Let's see. Wow, it's 8:30. That's crazy. But, I mean, being outside, of course, if something's eating it, it could be any number of things. The first thing I thought was maybe cicadas. Cicadas are out in force right now. I don't know if you live in a part of the country where cicadas are, but like I'm sitting here listening to them right now. I can hear them through the window just because they're so flipping loud. A Buddha belly plant. This is when I need another phone or a computer with me. Next time I'm going to have my laptop so I can look these things up. Well, I will write that down and look it up later. So we've got Audrey 11 or 2, and then we have Buddha belly. Buddha belly. Also, where are we at? Okay. Also, we have this dome in our zoo here, and they call it the Rainforest Dome, and it's got big trees and stuff in it. It's not that big, but it's big enough that it has probably at least 20 or so trees in there. Now they're not full-sized like mega trees, but they are trees from other parts of the world that you don't really get to see full grown like that. So I'm talking like I'm talking like Ficus lyrata, Ficus audrey, a lot of bigger sized like epiprimnums and things in this place. Just things that you don't get to see like that. Like you never really get to see what the trunk of a Ficus lyrata looks like, but it's really neat. Like it's neat seeing that kind of tree that we don't grow here, that we can't grow here because of the winters. I bring that up because there is a Ficus religiosa in there, and Ficus religiosa is not really a house plant. It's just not one of those plants you can grow indoors. And if you guys ever look it up, the leaves have like a longer point on the end. They're very noticeable. And they call it that because supposedly it was the tree that Buddha sat by to gain enlightenment. But it's just really neat to be able to see that, to be in a place where you're able to see that, because I'd have to fly around the world to see that otherwise. And sometimes what I like to do is I like to put my hand like on a tree like that, and you can just kind of like close your eyes and just kind of feel the energy, because it's a living thing, right? Its roots are in the ground, you know, it's absorbing, you know, things from the earth, it's giving us oxygen. Like it's this kind of transcendental experience of just being able to appreciate the moment of touching this tree and just sharing that moment with it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But let's see. Any epiphytes? Well, are you asking if I own any epiphytes? I mean, I own a few. The interesting thing about epiphytes when you have them as houseplants is that they don't need to be epiphytic. Like you can just kind of grow them and they can just trail, and you're giving them fertilizer, you're giving them light, you're giving them water, you're giving them everything that they need to where they don't really have to do much. So, I mean, I do have my Cebu Blue on a trellis now, which is looking okay. I don't know. I think it's still adapting, but it'll be fine. And of course, I want to say that all rainforest cacti are epiphytes. So we're talking Schlumbergera, Ripsalis, there's another one I'm missing, Epiphyllum. All of the jungle cacti are epiphytes. My former coworker used to say that she would go outside and touch the trees. And did he put that back? He did, okay. And walk barefoot to feel the energy. Yep. There's a thing called grounding, which, I mean, you know, some people may say it's BS, but like walking outside barefoot and just kind of feeling the grass and kind of putting your feet in the dirt, and there's supposed to be like energy there, right? There's supposed to be like, you know, we're all part of this planet. We're not, you know, we all come from the same dirt. So like feeling that connection, I think, is important. And it's the same reason that I'm kind of into insects. You know, I like holding insects, because here's this thing that most people are typically grossed out by or weirded out by, and it's just breathing. It's just doing its thing. It's contributing to the environment. It's just another living creature. Like, so, you know, I wish I could post my videos of me holding bugs. Like, there was a really cool praying mantis the other day that was on my car, and I just stuck my hand out and it just went do 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 do. Just crawled right up my arm, sat right there. Doesn't bother me. Like, if I was a smaller insect, it would bother me, because those things like shred things with their, you know, front mandibles or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I think that, you know, I have a snake too. I forgot to mention that. I have a corn snake. I like holding her because she's really gentle. She's only bit me once, and it was my fault. So, I mean, she's not violent. She's cute. I don't know. Now, I'm not holding any wasps. I got attacked by wasps the other day in lawn and garden. No. They're dead because I killed them. One of my favorite grocery store plant experiments is a dragonfruit, which is a cactus that behaves like a vine. They look completely ridiculous, and I love them. I'll have to look into that. I mean, I know what dragon fruit is, obviously, but I guess with some fruit, I never bothered to think about where they come from. Like, I didn't really think that much into it, but I wish that I had like a big greenhouse where I could grow some exotic fruit trees, just because I think that would be really bizarre to be able to walk outside and like pluck an orange from a tree. I don't know. There's something instinctual about that, about picking the fruit yourself. Like, you know, here's the fruit, it's growing from the earth, now I'm going to go pick it, instead of picking it out of a grocery store, which now orange juice sounds good too. You guys are killing me. Um, I'm a spider girl, love finding them and letting them crawl on me. Okay, Mandy, that's unexpected. I like that. Um, I like jumping spiders. I think jumping spiders are really cute. I think that. Oh my god. Are you cleaning her tank out or something? Here's my snake. Wes must have been listening because this is Coraline. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that movie, the animated movie that's kind of spooky. So her name is Coraline. She's a corn snake. Her pattern is an anery stripe. So it's kind of a rare pattern, but she's kind of this gold and silver color, which is pretty cool. She's very, very long, and she can be very active, but she's really cute. Hi, Coraline. Hi, Coraline. She's very curious too. She likes to get out. She likes to not play necessarily, but she just likes to be on a little adventure. Sometimes I will let her sit in the grass because she's really slow. She's not going to get away. Just to let her sit in the grass and just kind of hang out. You know, she deserves to be in nature a little bit, right? Oh, now she's going to calm down. Sometimes she will just sit with me like this, and she just likes the heat from my hand. Because reptiles are cold-blooded, so they have no heat source. They're reliant on finding heat sources in nature. So during the winter, I have a heat lamp on her so that she doesn't get cold. Hi, Coraline. Hi there. So she's super cute. Yeah. Oh no, we're not gonna go on my face. Come on, come on. Here. Oh no. What are you doing, you crazy girl? But yeah, she's gotten pretty thick. She's really strong too. Like her grip is impressive because she's one big muscle, really. I mean, so I don't really let her go around my neck just because, you know. But yeah. Anyway, you want to take her back? Thank you. Bye, Coraline. Always make sure you wash your hands after because they have, like, you know, bacteria and stuff. But let me scroll back up. Sorry, guys. It is awesome to take care of the fruit trees and then eat the fruit. Yeah. Yeah, taking care of the fruit trees is definitely part of the experience. Like, you did that yourself, right? You raised it, and now you get to benefit. You get to reap the benefits of, you know, what you've sown. And then, yeah, spiders, Mandy. I like jumping spiders. Jumping spiders make up, I think, about 10% of all spiders. And they are extremely intelligent. They found that jumping spiders actually, is it that they're self-aware or that they're able to identify like living things and non-living things, which is like a huge breakthrough for animals. Like, not very many animals can do that. And they're cute. Jumping spiders are so cute. Like, I don't care what y'all say. I mean, yeah, they can bite, but I mean, a cat bite would hurt worse than a jumping spider bite, unless you're allergic. Yeah. Like I said, it's a unique pattern. So we got pretty lucky getting her. Dylan tries to put a leash on a snake to take her for a walk. Can you imagine? Maybe she needs like a little wagon that I can just drag her around in. My kid has 3 African house snakes. Oh, okay. African house snakes. I'll have to look into that. Rat snakes are really pretty too. There's one called a blue beauty rat snake, and they're gorgeous. I mean, if I didn't have Coraline already, I would get one of those just because they get really big and they're just very pretty. I love how they taste the air with their little tongues. Yes, that's how they smell. And sometimes I wonder how they hear. I tried to look it up once and I couldn't get a straight answer, but sometimes I'm like, hello, Coraline, and I'm like saying hi to her, and she doesn't react. Of course, she's not gonna know her name, but sometimes when I like scrape the top of her tank, she'll be like, oh, like, you know, is he gonna open the tank? Are we getting out today? Yeah, my dream is to have a pet jumping spider. You can do it. I mean, you can definitely have a pet jumping spider. I can't promise how long they live. I want to say it might only be like 2 years, but I mean, for something that small, that's decently long. Insects and arachnids don't tend to live super long. There are some species and certain female of certain species that can live up to like 7 to 10 years, I think, like tarantulas. But I don't know. I would own a tarantula. Am I going to hold a tarantula? I don't know. Maybe under supervision. Some people are weirded out by all the eyes on spiders. Well, they've got better vision than we do. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if they have better vision, but they have more vision. Yeah. Yeah, especially on jumping spiders, the way the two big ones are like sitting right on top. I don't know. It's hard not to be, you know, aw every time you see them. But, and the dances they do, awesome. Love it. Cat face spiders are cute too. Cat face spiders. I'll have to look that up too. I wish you guys could link pictures. Uh, and opossum, yeah. Opossums don't live very long. They only live like 2 years, which isn't very long for a. Are they mammals? I mean, I know they're marsupials, but yeah, they're mammals. For a mammal, that's not very long, especially a big mammal. I mean, you expect something like a rat or a mouse not to live very long because they're so small, but yeah, opossums are really cute. If you guys ever see like some of these things out in nature, like just don't kill them or anything. They're doing their part. Raccoons and opossums and things like that. But mosquitoes, go for it. Wasps, get rid of them. Don't need them. Or ticks. Oof. I'm really not a fan of centipedes either. I mean, I appreciate what they do. They do a lot for like keeping other bug things in control, but I don't know, too many legs. Although I do like millipedes because they don't bite. Maybe tarantulas, scorpions, and centipedes are where I draw the line. I don't mind centipedes when they're outside. Yes. Although I have heard that house centipedes, which are the ones that kind of have bigger legs in the front and shorter legs in the back, I've heard house centipedes can take care of bad things like brown recluse spiders. Don't quote me on that, but I do know that they are very voracious in what they eat. So brown recluses are not a joke. We have some here occasionally. So, and scorpions, ugh, they're killing machines. I mean, pinchers, a stinger. I think they can bite too, possibly. Like, no. Too much. Too many things can go wrong in that scenario. I will appreciate them from a zoo. They end up in your bathtub, right? Like they just fall in there, and you open the curtain to take a shower, and there's a centipede looking up at you. Ugh, no thanks. I have heard Ray would probably attest to this, but I think that in like tropical environments, centipedes can get really big, like a foot long or something. Like, oof, can you imagine? Can you imagine like a centipede's under your rug and like the rug is thrashing around because it's so big? Nope, I'm moving out. But yeah, I don't know. All life is important, I suppose. What's something else? I like birds a lot too. Like we have a little pond outside, and I get geese and ducks there a lot. And I've gotten the geese trained now to where they will eat out of my hand, so that's pretty cool. I mean, they hiss a lot, but they're all bark and no bite. I know that they eat other things I don't like, but the worst thing ever is when I'm minding my own business and this huge hairy shadow just starts wandering across the wall. I can just picture you like laying in bed, and you just like something out of the corner of your eye moves, and you're like, huh? And there it goes, just like crawling across the wall. I've had that happen, but with spiders, where I'm like sitting at my computer gaming, and then out of the corner of my eye, something moves, and I'm just like, I know I saw something move, and then it comes out from behind a picture. I'm like, ooh, no. I don't like being surprised. Some people are afraid of frogs. Like, I mean, everybody's afraid of something, but I mean, frogs? I don't know. They're cute. Boy, we got off of plants, didn't we? I think about 9 more minutes, I might wrap this up. But if you guys have any like other things you want to say or any things you want to bring up, we got 9 minutes. Crows are cool. They're really smart. I want to train them to fetch coins. Yeah, crows are also very intelligent. I know they're probably top 5 or top 10 as far as animals go. Their ability to solve puzzles and learn, it's just, a crow would be really cool to have. My cats are killing machines. They've never killed anything. But sometimes I'll put a screensaver up that has like birds, and they'll start swatting at the screen and stuff. And I was like, okay, that's why I don't have birds right now. But yeah, I do love birds a lot. I mean, I like all life, but like lizards, I mean, you can't. They move so fast. You can't go hold them or anything. No problem, Gwen. I know that you're not the only one that likes the cats. There's other people that like the cats too, so I figured I'd show you guys. They are really cute. Oh, I love my kitties so much. I got really lucky with them. Our oldest, I haven't put out the cat video yet because I still have footage from it, but our oldest actually died about a month ago, and he was 20. So you'll see him when I do my cat video, but he has since passed. And 20 is a really good age for a cat. So, like, it's sad, but it's like, you know, it's like when a person lives to be 100. Like, you can't be too upset about the fact that they died because they lived to be 100. Like, that's such a rare thing. So, Spice likes lizards. Yep, our gray cat, she likes lizards. So in our old house, we used to get lizards in the basement during the summer, and she would bring them up to us. She wouldn't kill them, but she would just like have them in her mouth, and she'd be like, "Here you go, do something with this." We had chickens when I was a kid. They were the cutest thing in the universe. Oh, I want chickens. I would love to have chickens. I want like an indoor coop, like maybe in the basement or something. And you could have like a chicken in there, and it could just go tuk tuk tuk, you know, and come after you. I don't know. It'd be cool to have a turkey too. I want a Persian. Persians are beautiful. I don't necessarily prefer the ones with the flat face that looks like they got their face squished, but I mean, those are really popular. They're very exotic. Yeah, 20. It's just so long, and we knew it was coming too. Like he was just getting skinny, and you know, starting to kind of like not be able to walk so well, and you can just kind of tell. So it was hard, but you know, that's life. You can't put a price. You can't put a price on the amount of time you get to spend with them, right? Like, yes, you're sad for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, but I mean, that's totally worth having to go through that for all of the memories you made. So that's how I always look at it. Wes says no to chickens, guys. Sorry. Like, I would love to have chickens. But yeah. No, really, really, I want, if I do anything, I'm going to find a better way to incorporate my plants because I love this house, but it doesn't necessarily have the best lighting because of the curtains and just kind of the way it's laid out, and that there's so many trees outside that it, I don't know. I got to figure something out. I mean, my plants are fine, but I just feel like they could be better. So, I don't know. We'll see where that goes. I'm trying to think about what I want for dinner. I really want something to eat. Actually, I need to go get milk because I'm out of milk. Anybody milk drinkers? Because that's my thing. I like milk. Let me think of some things to wrap up here. I'm still working on getting more plant care videos. We're on like the S's. I have to go back and do Hawea, the Kentia palm, and I'll do Araucaria maybe for Christmas, but we're getting really close. I just have to go get a couple more plants that I don't have so that I can finish this list. And then after that, I mean, you know, I've got a whole list of like other videos I want to do. I just haven't done them yet. Some of them I need to do research on because I want to make sure it's a good like video, like your go-to, right? My goal is to be like one of your all's go-tos. Like everybody has that list of plant people that they follow. I want to be one of those so that you guys have a good resource. What else? And I'm always open to suggestions too on plant videos. If you guys ever have any ideas of something you want to see, I mean, check my list first to make sure I haven't already done it, but I'm definitely open to ideas. Did you say you did or would do orchids? I will do orchids eventually. I don't know when because I have to get an orchid and kind of figure it out a little bit, but I will do orchids eventually. That's just one of those niche things. I'll probably do like carnivorous plants. When we're talking about groups, I'll probably do carnivorous plants first because that's, to me, seems more accessible to me in a way. But how many more cacti do you plan on covering? There are so many fascinating cacti. there are so many fascinating cacti. I will cover more cacti as I discover new ones. So this time around, I didn't really do that many cacti because, like, for example, like the pharaoh cactus, right? If I tell you how to take care of this, I'm telling you how to take care of most of the cacti that are this shape anyway. Like, because they're very different, but they're very similar in care. Opuntia is a little bit different because of the shape. Those tend to need a little bit more water. Sirius is, Sirius is very similar to this too, except Sirius really needs a pretty good amount of light so that it doesn't get leggy. And when I say Sirius, I mean the kind of tall columnar cacti. But I do want to get more into cactuses as far as at least showing you guys some. And what I'll probably do is I'll go hit up a few good greenhouses and show you what all they have so that I don't have to buy them because I tend to buy a lot of plants. So I want to take you to the sections of these greenhouses that I go to and just show you how much variety there is. And maybe, you guys can see something and be like, wow, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one. You can kind of look. Because, of course, I don't know all the names either. But, I guess there's so many times you can say, let the soil dry out between watering before you start wanting to cover something else. Yeah, and that's something I've ran into when I talk about fertilizer. Generally, you fertilize your plants about the same, other than some of the exceptions. You don't really fertilize ferns that much. You don't fertilize carnivorous plants at all. You fertilize cacti and succulents a little bit less, but generally, fertilizer is all about the same as far as frequency and when to do it. But what was another thing? Yeah, cacti are just so hardy. You just kind of let them, let them do their thing, and you just water them every once in a while, and they're good. So, but yeah, what other cactuses? Yeah, there's definitely some that I can go back and do. Somebody had mentioned, it starts with a C. There's a group of plants that starts with a C. It's not a genus, but it's a group that has the big succulent trunk, and then just some leaves on top. Caudiforms? Does that sound familiar? Surely somebody out there knows what I'm talking about. But, that would be one that I could cover because I didn't do that. They're just not a plant that I see very much. Generally, I'm trying to grab the things that I see the most in my travels because I know that that's probably the stuff that you guys see the most in your travels too. So I want plant care to be more accessible. I don't want people to be like, I have a brown thumb, I can't keep anything alive. Yes, you can. You can keep plants alive. It's not hard. Can you keep every plant alive? No. Nobody can keep every plant alive. We all have that plant, minus Homalamina, and a few others. Caudiciforms, that's it. The ones that look like big living rain barrels. Yes, Caudex. Caudex is another one. Are those similar? But yeah, that's definitely the word I was looking for. Some plants, though, I just don't like. Like yucca. I'm just not impressed by yucca. It's something that they cut the top off and it sprouts out the bottom to look like a tree. I don't know. That just doesn't impress me. Or money trees. I don't really like money trees either. Pachira, I think is the genus. I don't know. I think they're kind of overrated, but no offense to people that like those. The caudex is the big lump that stores the water. Okay, yeah. So wouldn't Bocarnia technically be a caudiform? And the bottom would be the caudex? Ponytail plant, not ponytail palm. I picture Mustard and Dragonite and Mandy typing at their keyboards frantically. Oh, get the answer out. We should play a game next time. We should play a game, like a Jeopardy game or something, and I'll quiz you guys on things and we can see who gets the answers right. Okay. That's what I figured. Bocarnia is another one I'm not really impressed with, but I don't know. It's cool. It looks cool. I like it. I like it more than the other two. But the cards have plant things on them. Yeah, but then I won't be able to hear you guys. I guess you could type, but yeah, that's not a bad idea either. Okay, well, we are 10 seconds from the 2-hour mark. I honestly did not expect this to last 2 hours. That's crazy. Sort of off track, but what are your thoughts on filming tours of botanical gardens? Maybe a filming hike while identifying plants. Both great ideas. There's a beautiful botanical garden up in Nebraska that I've been to a couple of times. I would love to show you guys that because it's amazing. And a lot of it is like greenhouse, like indoor stuff that is just so exotic, gigantic banana trees and all kinds of stuff. That would be awesome. I got to figure out when to plan a trip like that, but that would definitely make a good video. And then hiking, I like to hike. I do, I'm trying to think of where to do it, but I do, we did that kind of stuff in college, right? Like we would go out in the woods and he'd say, here's a 1x1 section of ground, like a 1 foot by 1 foot. Identify all the plants in this 1 foot section and do your best. So then you're like, oh, geez, I got to get this out. And how many leaves does it have? What's the pattern? Does it have flowers? You're doing all your research in your head trying to like narrow down what this could be. So I don't know. That would be fun. I could get on board with that. Do you alter your tap water here in Topeka? The pH is 9 and the DTS going past 500 ppm. Oh yeah, yeah. The tap water here will kill plants, carnivorous plants. I use filtered water. I'm fortunate that this house has a filtration system on it. If you're talking just specifically those specialty plants, like those carnivorous plants, I would definitely buy water. Distilled water is probably best, just to be safe. Because yeah, those minerals and stuff are unforgiving. Most of your plants will be fine with tap water, but there are certain ones like carnivorous plants. Ferns aren't really a big fan of tap water. Prayer plants are not really a big fan of tap water. Calathea, Maranta, Goaperthia, Stramanthe, and Tenanthe, the 5 prayer plants. But yeah, but do I alter my water? No. But when I did use tap water, I used a dechlorinator, like for a fish tank, just to be safe, just so that at least the chlorine factor was gone. Hang on, did I miss anybody? I've done well with ponytail plant, but I had a frizzle sizzle that I'm pretty sure is dead. Those are the only Conex plants I've tried. It's the only one I've tried too, and I only bought the Bocarnia I had for the video, and then after that I took it back. Did I took it back? Or did I take it back, or did I sell it? Or donate it? I think I donated it. A tour of the U.S., but all of the stops are botanical gardens. Now that is a road trip worth taking. That could be a whole channel in itself, just visiting every botanical garden in the U.S. But I would really only prefer ones that have that indoor section. Like, don't get me wrong, outdoor botanical gardens are gorgeous in their own right, but I mean, most of us are here for the houseplants, so it's nice to see those exotic species and things that we don't normally see. But yeah, that one up in Nebraska is definitely worth showing you guys. There's also a couple of zoos that I've been to that have beautiful rainforest domes. I need to do that. I need to show you the one here in town. Plant party bus, do a pub crawl, but with greenhouses. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Can you imagine the freaking Bane's Botanicals bus hitting the road, going across the country, hitting all these stops? Oh, that'd be a lot of fun. I'm just sitting here thinking, like, if I just had infinite money and I could just buy a bus, I would just come pick you guys up and we'd just go party. Of course, we'd have to have a second bus for all the plants we would buy. Let's see. If you're able to, and assuming you don't live next to a factory or something, collecting rainwater is very handy. Collecting rainwater is handy. Unfortunately, in Kansas, it does not rain a lot. It rains enough that things stay green, but there's a noticeable difference between here and Indiana, where I'm from, where it rains a lot more. The trees are shorter here. Things are just a little runtier here. It's just not great. But yes, rainwater is a good alternative. Well, it's not even an alternative, but yeah. There's a beautiful botanical garden in St. Louis. There is. There's a good one in St. Louis too. Most of it's outdoor, but it's still very pretty. I heard the one in Atlanta is amazing. Bane's bus. Yes. The BBB, Bane's Botanicals bus. I've never been to Atlanta. I've driven through Atlanta a few times, but I've never stopped. I would love to go to Atlanta just because it's such a big city. Georgia's a pretty cool place. And I really want to pick a peach off of a tree in Georgia. That seems very fitting, doesn't it? But yeah, what was I saying? Atlanta, yeah. Yeah. Big cities can be tricky because there are so many greenhouses. And I don't know about you guys, if you've ever gone on like an actual greenhouse kind of tour in a big city near you or in your own city, but you always find those ones that are just like, oh, here's a little small one, and they have epiprimnums and peace lilies. Great. Like, I want something big. Or if it is small, it needs to have some really cool, unique stuff. I'm not going to pay $20 for an epiprimnum aureum. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not going to do that. Like, it's not worth that. Props for people that have their own business and everything, but, I mean, you got to have the goods. Have the goods that people want. Even the stuff we get at Walmart sometimes, I'm like, why do we have this? Nobody wants this. Why are they shipping it to us? They're just so out of touch. Yeah, maybe I could become a buyer, a plant buyer for Walmart. That'd be cool. Bane's Botanicals. Wait, I'm lost about the BBG thing. Oh, Bane's. Okay, yeah. The Brooklyn Botanical Garden is a neat screening for all of you who live in proximity to there. That would be cool. Good night, Gwen. Thank you for hanging out with me. It was good finally getting to interact like this face to face. I really enjoyed your company. Super fun. I am gonna wrap it up actually too for everybody. Dragonite, it's really cool seeing you. I mean, we've all been interacting so much over this past year, so this is a cool breakthrough. Again, I'm always open to suggestions. Leave me a comment on one of my videos, and I'm pretty good about getting back to you guys. Maybe not perfect, but I'm pretty good. And yeah, I'll think of another time to do a live stream. Hopefully we can get more people next time because I know some people didn't get to make it. Yes, good night, Elenita. Be safe with the hurricane. Mandy, thank you. Go hold a spider for me. And I'm going to look up that snake too. But yeah, say that when you have 1 million subs. Well, you know what? Even if I never get 1 million, I've got the best community anyway, even with, what is it, 1,400? So, yeah, thank you guys so much. This is why it's worth it, is because of you guys, getting to have these interactions. Thank you so much. Mustard, it was really good meeting you. I think this is the first time we've interacted, but you had a lot to say, so I appreciate that. And I will see you guys soon. I'll let you know when I do another date. If evenings work for you guys. Miss Betty, you were in here the whole time and didn't say anything. I knew you were here. Good night. It was good. It's good hearing from you. Until next time, I will see you guys very soon. Thank you.